Hey, what's up? It's Comic95 the Savior, and for this video, I will be talking to you about the 10 reasons why I will not go back to my home country. This is a question that's been on every hater, every racist mind that gets so irritated. Oh my god, you have so much negative stuff to say about Japan. Why are you still here? Well, to first start off your question, or answer your question, there's bad stuff everywhere in every country. No one ever said that the stuff that happens in Japan doesn't happen or exist in other places, but rather the purpose in my channel is to inform people that want to live in Japan or stay here long term. These are things that I personally notice, experience, and go through that are shocking to me, rather shocking, because I didn't hear about, experience, and or see a lot of the stuff in the US and or during my time in which I researched Japan. We're all familiar with all of the big J-vlog channels, and let's be real, 99% of them don't say anything bad about Japan. It's all about, look at this cool, weird stuff. Look at this interesting matcha, this weird flavored this. And all of those things are great and fun. It's part of why I'm here too, which you'll hear about later on. But the purpose of my channel is not to replicate stuff that's already out there, nor is it to necessarily, reinvent the wheel or be the odd one out and purposefully go against the grain per se, but rather I want to inform people. I wish somebody told me this stuff before I came to Japan. So let me make that clear again. No one's saying Japan is awful, don't come here, but rather I make videos based off of my current emotions. I talk about things that I can't talk about to people in real life, because obviously I like to keep things professional. I'm not going to go to work and complain about some racist, a-hole that I saw on my way there. It's irrelevant to my job. But you, my subscribers, my friends, I most certainly can share my, personal life and experiences with you, hoping that you guys do care, do want to know. These are things that people don't talk about. And when people do, it's commonly brushed under the rug and excused like, oh, it wasn't racist, they were xenophobic, or, oh, well, she technically had the right to hate me. I am fat. I was taking up too much space. It's normally, crap like that where the foreigner is basically blaming themselves. So this is not to say that foreigners don't do any wrong. I most certainly am guilty and deserving of some hate and some bad things that have happened to me out in public. I'm not always nice, but rather to speak on how things generally go or talk about my specific day or whatever the case. I'm not going to go on rambling on that anymore. We're going to go ahead and get into the video. This will answer your question. So from now on, when people ask me, oh, why are you still in Japan? If you hate it so much, why not just pack your bags and go back to Africa? So lastly, actually, I take that back. We're not going to start yet. One more thing I want to say. I've said this before too, but do you not realize how unrealistic that is? So every time you experience racism, every time somebody says something that you don't like, bullies you, treats you bad, is prejudiced towards you, is it logical to move? Who has the time and or money to do that every single time? As a Black person, there will be nowhere left on earth for you to stay at if that was the way that you decided to move around. Not realistic. I've personally moved several times since I've been here, and sometimes it has been because of stalkers and or racist people. And you best believe each time I've gone to a new place, including my lovely apartment that I'm in right now, I still deal with racism. In fact, I've probably dealt with more since I've moved here than anywhere else. However, I know to myself, I don't let my racist neighbors, people that are afraid of me, xenophobic, if you will, I don't let that stop me from living in Japan. Because while these people might not like me, might be afraid of me, might think I have AIDS or, whatever, some type of contagious cancer, whatever they think, I have is the dirty, smelly, moving my table, Black foreigner. There are thousands of other people that absolutely love the fact that I'm here, that are happy to have a foreign friend, an American friend, a Black girl, that love me, not just because I'm cute, but because, it's like, oh, wow, I have a foreign friend. I want to learn about your culture, your country. Those are the people that keep me going. And at the end of the day, I'm not here for anybody else but myself. So just like how some of you hate my guts and wish I was dead and want me to, choke on green tea or something, there's plenty of Japanese people that feel the same way too. And you want to know what? I do not care. I have spent my whole life over stressed out and worrying about what other people think and have to say about me. And I still do it every once in a while. I'm human. I struggle with anxiety and depression. I'm open about those things. But you want to know what? I also know how to, be rational with myself too. I can step back and be like, do you realize how crazy you're being right now? Do you really care about that one person that called you a gorilla, ugly ass black hoe, over all of the thousands of people that have done nothing but compliment you and make you feel like the most beautiful person in the world? Why am I going to let those, 3 people that hate my guts control and dictate my life and tell me whether I'm valuable, worthy enough to be alive? So now we can go ahead and get started my video after I'm done. Now that I'm done ranting to you, I have my list of 10 things right here. So let's go ahead and get started. Reason number 1 why I most certainly, not in any particular order by the way, but why I most certainly will not be going back to my home country, back to Africa, back to the US, whatever. Africa's not a country. I'm just repeating what you guys say to me in my comments and in my messages and emails. Okay. Salary, cost of living in my apartment, I threw them all together in one. I make good money here in Japan in comparison to what I was making in the US, and not so much a matter of what I could be making, but rather in comparison to what the cost of living is. For example, I'm from Chicago. I most certainly could be getting double my salary even as a new teacher in the US in comparison to my salary in Japan. However, the cost of things like housing, groceries, etc. is also a lot more. Now with the groceries part, that one's a little bit tricky. Groceries are technically cheaper in the US, but because I live by myself and because I'm not eating as much as I did as an American, it's arguably the same price for me. I currently do not have any children and I am not legally married, and thus I am legally single. Thus, I don't have to worry about things like that so much. Maybe my opinion will change about cost of living as things go on further, because technically the cost of living is more in Japan, but I'm not going to get into all of that. For the time being, I make more money. I get more of my money after even my taxes and stuff. I don't have to deal with all of that crap. My salary is nice. Moving on. Number 2, it is very easy to find a job. If you've been watching my channel for any length of time, I have quit, changed, transferred, whatever jobs a gazillion times. Way more than I'm proud of. It's not to brag, but I like to be real with you. The way I see it is, your life is short. Your job, I saw a meme that said this, and it's so true. Your job will literally have, your job posting listed before your obituary is available online. They do not care about you. And Japan is definitely even more so true. So why am I going to waste the little bit of life that God has given me being miserable at work when there are tons of other places that see my work, see my value, and would love to hire me as not only a native English speaker, but a young Black American woman to work at their company? Why would I waste my time working for someone that doesn't like me, that gives me a hard time, makes me want to kill myself at work? Doesn't make any sense to me. And every time I've changed jobs, I've gotten a higher salary. So it's definitely paid off. I get more work experience. I get certificates. I get more training. There's so much stuff that I, have to learn. So for me, it's worth it. So yeah, it's really easy to find a job. In the US, the job hunting process was a nightmare. You apply for a job, you don't hear back from them, you get one call out of like every 50 applications that you put in, and then you're like competing, it's cutthroat competition for even, crap jobs, excuse me, but just being real. At places like Starbucks, McDonald's, Walmart, I've worked at the majority of, retail companies that probably exist out there. I speak from personal experience, not crapping on you. I personally worked at Walmart, I worked at Starbucks, I worked at Old Navy, JCPenney. I've done it all. And it was so hard to get all of those jobs. And here I was only making $8.35 an hour, $8.25, $9. My salaries sucked. And even although they were so low, I had to jump through so many hoops just to get my foot in the door with these companies. In Japan, companies and employers are practically begging you to apply to them, and they hire you on the spot. No games. Taxes are not crazy and complicated. I know when I get paid how much is going to come out of my check exactly, and it's reasonable. I feel like the taxes are lower here. You'll hear different stuff from different foreigners, and I'm not going to speak on that. I'm just telling you what I personally feel and why I am personally here. I cannot speak for other people. I'll make a video talking about that stuff later. So yeah, moving on. Where are we? Number 3, Japanese culture. When I say culture, I mean everything. Food, fashion, games, music, pop culture. I like the landscape here. Absolutely love mountains. I like being able to see the mountains and the flowers here and the museums and stuff, and seeing people wear kimonos. And swords, and I just love learning about Japanese culture. I'm fascinated by it. It's a big part of why I chose to come here. I think it's beautiful. I think this country is beautiful. I think the people here are beautiful. It's absolutely amazing to me. It never gets old. I always feel like I'm a tourist here every single day. Absolutely love Japanese culture. I'm always learning more. So yeah, I love all of that stuff, both the nerdy stuff and the so-called traditional Japanese culture, like tea ceremony type stuff. So yeah, I love it all. Number 4, I kind of got ahead of myself and talked about this in 3, but yeah, I love sightseeing. I like the mountains and everything. To me, Japan is an adventure. So number 4, it's an adventure for me. I always feel like I just came here, like literally every day that I go out and I do stuff, whether it be, road trip or getting on the train. I just enjoy the sights and sounds, and I love how busy everything is. It gets annoying at times too, don't get me wrong, but that's a big part of why like I want to stay in Osaka. I did kind of enjoy Kobe a little bit, but it was too countryside like, which I didn't like. I like the convenience of, living in either Osaka or Tokyo. And I also liked Yokohama, but again, it wasn't as convenient as Tokyo was. So like I could never live somewhere like that unless I had a car. So yeah, and having the car is a little bit expensive here if you don't live in the countryside. So that's all a whole nother story. But yeah, like I love that it feels like an adventure every single day here. I feel like I'm traveling. I feel like Japan is just a bunch of, kind of like the US. It's like a bunch of mini countries within a country. Like, think about it. Chicago is totally different from Houston, Texas. Chicago is different from Los Angeles, and all of the different cities in the U.S. Like, it feels like you're going to a totally different country. Like, the climate is different, the language, different accents, etc. So, yeah, I love that about being here. Number 5, Japanese men. This is going to sound super, super fetishy, but I'm going to keep it real and talk to you how it is. No, I don't mean it in a, oh my God, all Japanese guys are perfect. But no, I'll be real. I love the fact that men here are comfortable in their masculinity. And I hate to say that. I'm not trying to be one of those PC, toxic masculinity type people, but I'm just being real. This is not politically correct to say, but I'm going to say it anyway because I don't know another way to put it. I tend to like guys that are classified as metrosexual, if you will. I commonly tend to like people that, unfortunately for me, oftentimes end up being gay, which means that they don't like girls. But in Japan, or Asia in general, a lot of the stuff that we consider as so-called gay for guys to do is not seen as gay at all. It's just normal. So guys tend to take a lot of time with getting ready. They care about their hair. They care about their skin. They care about their clothing. They smell good. They take care of themselves. They shower. I feel like the majority of men from my home country, not everyone, but in my experience, they consider these kind of things to be, well, gay. Not being PC with you, saying it how it is. And thus a lot of men don't care about, taking care of themselves with their hair and fashion, and they don't care about, personal hygiene and grooming. Like, it's just do the bare minimum type thing. And don't get me wrong, there most certainly are dirty ass Japanese men here too. I've definitely seen them, dated them. I've experienced it. They're not all perfect. But I will say in general, I do like the fact that, the dress code here, guys wear suit and tie. I have a thing for men in suits, just being real. I absolutely love that. And for me, I also find it easier, like, with dating, because don't get me wrong, there are tons of fuckboys here. But at the same time, I like the fact that, for me, I think it's easier to weed out potential candidates to date because the majority of people here are educated and the majority of them do want to have children, do want to get married. Is it everyone? No. There most certainly are people that will waste your time, and play mind games with you, etc. It's never everyone. But I personally find that it is easier to find potential candidates to actually date seriously and to marry, have a real relationship with. Is this true for everybody? No. But in my experience, I personally find it to be easier than I did in the US. But this is also me, comparing it to my little bit of experience in the US versus having spent pretty much all of my adult life thus far in Japan. So that's that. Telling you how I personally feel. I don't have a racial preference, so as I've said before, I like any man as long as he's attractive, he's thoughtful, he's romantic, he's, tall, he's handsome, like, he's funny. If he look good, I don't care about race. I don't see color or any type of crap. I hate to sound like a white person, but I'm just being real. I don't. If you're hot, you're hot. I don't care what country you come from. I don't care about your nationality, your language, nothing else. But I will be real, there are cultural differences, and that is one of them. Japanese, Asian people in general, they don't have the same super strict rules, almost considered as feminine versus masculine. For example, you'll see guys wearing glittery, sparkly stuff and their pink and purple stuff, and it's not because they're gay, it's just because to them it's just a color. I have students whose favorite color, is pink. So yeah, not going to go into that. I can make a whole video on that topic, but that is what I like. I like men in suits. I like men that take care of their hair. I like men that are fashionable. That's that. I find that there's a lot more people that are comfortable doing those things here in Japan. Number 6, while it is most certainly not perfect, healthcare. The fact that it is cheap, easily accessible, and fast. Do not get me wrong, healthcare in Japan sucks in comparison to the US when it comes to quality, but if you are in the process of dying, like how I've been, and you need to see a doctor and you don't have insurance or don't have a ton of money, you most certainly can do it a lot easier here in Japan, in my opinion, than in the US. You also don't have to wait for 12 hours in a doctor's office, and it's a lot cheaper. Like, you don't have to pay a ton of money even although you have insurance. In the US, it seems like even when you have insurance, it seems like you're footing pretty much the whole bill. And a lot of the times you kind of end up doing that despite having health insurance, and your premiums and stuff, and things go up, and it's just such a messy process. I find that in Japan, it's much simpler. It's easier to understand what you have to pay. It's easier to make appointments, and doctors actually are punctual. If your appointment's at 3 o'clock, you're not going to be seen at 6. It doesn't work that way. I most certainly have had appointments in the US where I was scheduled at 3 o'clock, didn't get seen until like 4, and then that was just them, taking my blood pressure, and then had to go back and sit down and wait 12 hours again. That was just with the nurse. So it's messy. I like that things are faster here, and that when it is an emergency, I can be seen right away. Not going to get into the, my thoughts on quality. I'll make another video on that because doctors suck in Japan, but that's another story. Not going to talk about that here. Number 7, while things most certainly are not perfect, I have videos talking about my experiences with this. Japan is safe. Overall, it is significantly safer than anywhere I've ever been in my entire life. I don't have to worry about somebody raping me or kidnapping me or breaking into my house. Even as a single foreign woman living alone, I don't feel afraid to tell people that I'm in Japan by myself or that I'm living by myself. I don't have that fear. In the US, I would never do that. I would always pretend like I'm with someone else, like I have some big 7-foot tall, muscular black guy that's going to kick your ass if you look at me the wrong way, or that, my dad is a police officer type thing. Whereas in Japan, I feel totally comfortable saying, yeah, I'm here by myself. Yep, I'm 20 years old. Like, none of that stuff matters to me. Don't get me wrong. Bad things do happen. Bad people do exist. I have videos on these topics. But overall, I do not feel fearful like how I did in the US. Here in Japan, one of my most favorite things to do is actually to go for a late night walk or early morning walk. Like, when I say late, I mean late, like super late at night, like 2, 3 a.m. type stuff, or after midnight when there's no trains running, where there's no people in sketchy areas, because I love the lights and stuff. Like, for example, if you live in Tokyo, I used to really like walking through Kabukicho. Is it Kabukicho? I forgot the name of it. You guys have to remind me. It's been a long time. But I used to walk through like the little Koreatown there and everything like that. And of course, I look like a prostitute to the people there, because like, why are you walking around half naked, exercising at night? Like, are you looking for someone to pick you up? But at the same time, for me, it's like, I'm taking pictures. I'm enjoying the atmosphere. Like, I'm sorry that apparently I can't walk outside at night without looking like a hooker. Like, I'm wearing a hoodie, for God's sake, but whatever. Anyway, I like that about Japan. I feel safe. I don't have to worry about people stealing my stuff. I've left stuff down and behind, both money, wallets, expensive headphones, cell phones, computers, everything. It's always been returned back to me. I've never truly indefinitely lost anything unless I just simply didn't go back to try to look for it myself. Of course, there are dishonest people here, liars and thieves. It does happen, does exist, but significantly less than it does in the US. I believe in giving credit where it's due. I'm going to be honest. Again, the purpose of my channel is not to bash Japan and say, oh, Japan is evil, or yeah, they do this good, but what about this guy? I'm not here to point out that stuff. I'm being real with you. Overwhelmingly, most people are honest and are not thieves and trying to steal your stuff and sell your crap, etc. When I get on the train, I don't have to hide the fact that I have a designer bag with me, or that I have, name brand headphones, or I don't have to worry about somebody stealing my Jordans off of my, feet like how I do in Chicago. Like, I don't have to think about these things. So yeah. Number 8. Honestly, I feel like an adult here. A big part of that is because I pretty much became an adult in Japan. But at the same time, I feel independent. This is my first real experience being totally on my own, where there's no friends, no family, no nothing. I have to depend and rely on myself. I like that. I feel more independent here, especially since in Japan I don't have to have a car. I don't have to have some fancy high credit score or parents with money, etc. Like, it's super easy for me to get around and do things by myself. If I were in the U.S., I'm not going to lie. I mean, I would have my own place in the U.S. too. But it would be a lot more probable that I would understandably need to probably stay with my parents for a few more years. In Japan, not the case. You can easily work a job at McDonald's or something and afford to have a pretty nice apartment by yourself for just a few $100s a month, which is super sweet. You can never do that in the U.S. In the U.S., $400 or $500 is how much you'd be paying to have, a bedroom in someone's apartment for most people, not for an entire month's rent for your own place. Number 9, this is going to make a lot of you cringe, but again, keeping it real, being honest, I like the celebrity treatment here. I feel like I'm some type of, pop star, celebrity type thing. And the reason being is, obviously, again, keeping it real, I'm a foreigner, I'm American, I'm a black girl. Foreigner, American, black girl. All rare things. The majority of foreigners here are actually not American, even though you see a lot of us on YouTube, but that's because YouTube is an American product, so is Google, in case you guys didn't know. Plus, I think that Americans are more wanting to be famous and have their own channel, make extra income type thing. That's what I get from it. If you look at the actual polls with like the statistics of people living in Japan, there's actually mostly Asian foreigners here, not Americans. So yeah, it's a rare thing. 2, there aren't a lot of black people here, and normally the black people here are not women, and when there are women, they are not from the US. So another rarity. And on top of that, of course, because I am a foreigner and because there are things about me that people like, both because, black culture and hip-hop culture, hip-hop American culture, whatever type stuff, people, of course, also like me. I'm constantly compared to celebrities that I look nothing like, that will be insulted to find out that people are confusing me with them. But yeah, it feels good to have people think so highly of you and compliment you. Oh my God, you're so pretty. You're so cute. You look like this person. Blah, blah, blah. It's fun. I enjoy it. Not going to lie. I benefit from it. I benefit from pretty privilege. I benefit from my nationality, even my race at times. So not going to lie, telling you how it is, I like it. In the US, yes, I had pretty much the same experience in a way. Not with the whole celebrity comparison thing, but I was seen as beautiful in the US too. But in Japan, definitely on a higher level. People act like they've just, spotted a goddess or something. And I get it from European people too, like other foreigners as well, and other black guys. But that's another story. Not going to get into that. Long story short, I enjoy the fact that people find me attractive here. It's fun. Just being real. Yes, I deal with the racist and the mean people, but the overwhelming majority of people treat me well, think that I'm beautiful, are very nice to me, and openly compliment me, and it makes me feel great. I love it. And last but not least, number 10, one of the most common reasons why I think a lot of foreigners want to come to Japan, I won't lie and pretend like this solves everything, but also won't deny the fact that it has helped me. I feel like I've gotten a fresh start coming to Japan. That was one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to come here. It wasn't just because I liked anime or, any type of part of Japanese culture, but rather I wanted to start my life over. I went through so much stuff between being physically, emotionally, and sexually abused growing up, both as a child and a teenager, and I just wanted to start my life over. I wanted to be by myself. I wanted to get away from my abusive family members. I wanted to leave my abusive sisters. I wanted to be alone. I wanted to be somewhere where no one knew me. I wanted to relearn everything. I wanted to relearn how to speak, how to read, how to write, how to live. And I've gotten that experience being here in Japan. Do I have bad days? Yes, I'm going through some of them right now, but I'm still here. I'm still alive, and I know that things will get better. So yeah, those are my 10 reasons why I just won't go back to Africa, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry to tell you that not only is Africa not a country, but I'm actually American. And I also want to tell you that, unfortunately for you, I'm in Japan. And more than likely, the people that are telling me, go back to your home country, you are not. Ha. So that's that. I hope this answered your questions about me. I hope this also gave you some insider reasons to consider coming to Japan yourself, maybe. But As always, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like, leave a comment down below. Tell me why you are in Japan, why you won't leave despite the fact that you've experienced racism, or people have said bad things to you, or you've had bad days, or you've gotten kicked out of your apartment, or whatever. I've been through it all. I told you guys all of my dirt. I never pretend to be some type of perfect person. I never try to purposefully pretend like Japan is this awful place, but I also don't lie and try to tell people that it's this wonderful place when it most certainly has its own boo-boo and it's, doo-doo-doo stank, just like how the US does. So yeah, as always, I would also appreciate it if you would follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Comic95. You can also add me on Snapchat at Comic the Savior, and I have a Facebook fan page as well, Comic95 the Savior. The links for everything is down in the description box. So yeah, please follow me there and like those pages. I would really, really appreciate that of you. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. And as always, thank you so much for watching.